fun.
Very close.
Yeah. Corner in. Okay, so my first question is kind of a open one for both of you. What excited you the most and scared you the most about this project? That's my son, by the way. Yeah. So what excited you and scared you the most about taking on this project?
Oh man. Also, first of all, poor Shiloh, he's gonna be okay. What excited me the most, being entrusted with being such a large part of the story. I guess that was both the most exciting and the scariest. I had never done that before. This is the hardest I've ever worked on anything, probably. And it was really rewarding.
Excellent. For you, Seth?
Excited. I mean, it was a scripting cast. I mean, when I'd made a previous film with Karen called The Young Kieslowski, and when he kind of told me about this movie, it sounded kind of maybe smaller or more niche, and I was kind of like, what's it going to be like? And I read the script and just instantly fell in love with it. And then as the cast rounded out, that was the absolute most exciting. And I think hopefully it shows on screen. In terms of what was the scariest, I'll go really granular with a moment from production. The school, did you all see the school where we shot at? That's actually a Catholic high school in Los Angeles. And in the location agreement, they specifically said we couldn't have any kind of content that would deal with like homosexuality. Side note, they were okay with violence or gunshots. And so one of the producers actually had to write a fake script about a girl and her bike. We told the whole crew they couldn't talk about what the movie was really about, and so for 8 days we kind of were living in fear a little bit that we might get kicked out. But in the end, they were actually really cool. I think the people that we were actually working with were totally understanding and helpful. But yeah, that was very, very scary as a producer.
I asked to read the G-rated script. I don't even know this. I asked to read it and I read it. I think it's a little bit more sexual. I think it's a lot more erotic in its repression.
What? So I have to ask a follow-up. Do they know yet? Now that it's been at Sundance, is the jig up?
We have not been contacted. We have told this story numerous times. I think, for better or worse, I think schools are generally underfunded, and when movies have location fees, I don't know. But yeah, we have not been contacted.
That'll be a fun thing. Dylan, let me just ask, because I feel like my memory of the film from Sundance is that you spend a lot of this time either very confused or very sad. Is that how, just as an actor, how does it take its toll on you? Or do you sort of, as an actor, just sort of embrace it and say, this is what I've been waiting to do as an actor, just tackle something that is gonna scare me a little and just try me a little? And
I feel like it's both. I was like excited and waiting for something to take its toll on me, and it did. I realized I kind of wish I could go back and sort of do the things we did toward the end of the shoot again, because I was just really sad at that point, and I didn't do a great job because I was just depressed. And I remember somebody in the sound department, like the last day, was just like, you know what I was thinking? Anne's life sucks.
that's what I was trying to say.
That's where I've been for 25 days, thanks. Yeah.
Do you find acting to be comfortable, or do you find it to be a more stressful or high and intense kind of experience?
I don't think it's comfortable. I don't know. There are much more uncomfortable. I'm not like, in a mine or using my hands.
Sure.
It's very comfortable. But it was a very intense experience to believe that those things are happening. Those are very traumatic things for anybody.
Yeah.
So that in a very small way, I feel like I went through them.
And when you're working with Brianna, how much time do you guys have to work on chemistry?
A little bit. We had like a week of rehearsal,
Oh, wow.
which was about like an hour a day at Karam's apartment. And so we didn't really get to chat that much. She's just really good at acting, so it was easy.
You all recognize Brianna, right? The other girl from Deadpool, right? Okay, just making sure. Because when we saw the movie, that was the first thing I ever saw her in, so Deadpool came later for me. But I recognized her because the trailer had been out already, so I'm like, it's kind of familiar. But just, were you like get along on set, or when you're playing a role like this, does it benefit at all to sort of keep your distance, and because you are supposed to be sort of at odds with each other a lot of the time? But what was the relationship like just between the two of you?
I got really lucky that everybody is really nice on the production end and the cast. Everybody, I mean it genuinely. I'd be saying this either way, but it's true. Everybody is lovely, so maybe I should have. Maybe that would have benefited our performances, but we hung out. No, the only day I could think about keeping distances was the bedroom scene day. Mateo and I just couldn't look at each other. We were just both going through our own shit.
When you're making this movie, even we were just talking about pre-production and even on set, what were some films or even non-movie references or influences you guys were talking about?
I don't know. I've been asked that before. That's a great question.
All right.
I'm trying to think of references we went through. I mean, the comp that I often think about this movie with, it was a short-lived TV series called My So-Called Life that I loved and that I think was and just kind of preaching the authenticity in that. But I mean, I think it's to a large credit to Karam, who's the writer-director, Karam Sangha, and the actors, and also the cinematographer, Rick Diaz, and the rest of the team, is that we've worked together before so many times. I feel like there already was an intrinsic language among the team, in a way, that kind of pushed it forward, and that, I mean, everyone's extremely film literate on the team, but yeah, it wasn't so many references as much as kind of the familiarity with each other that I think brought it out.
And for you, was there any performance or any movies he was showing you, or I don't know, some directors do that, some don't. I'm just wondering if that, or was it more just you taking it on your own?
This is gonna make me look really bad. Kara and I recently went back and looked at our first emails between each other about we're so excited that you're part of this or whatever. And he told me to watch a movie that I never watched.
Which movie?
I don't remember. It's a
Can you pull up the email?
I could pull up the email.
Oh, gosh.
Where I'm like, Tim Heidecker's in it? That's great. Yeah, no, it's really bad. He's like, watch this, it's similar totally, and I just didn't. Which I think it speaks to how much I grew as an actor, because now I would be all excited to do my research and that kind of shit. I didn't watch it, he did.
You say you don't remember what it was?
It was a Swedish movie about two girls in love.
Anybody?
Maybe. I don't know. I didn't see
It
it.
doesn't narrow it down.
So for you then, if it wasn't kind of movies or some type of extra text, what was it for you that kind of was your entry point of your interest? What was that you really wanted to tell this story?
Oh man. Well, that's as simple as I don't get the opportunity to read three-dimensional female characters very often. She's like a flawed human being who's for the most part good, and so I don't get to have a lot to work with very often. So that alone is enough. And then it's also just a great story that I'd want to be in service of.
Did you just sort of the road to production? Was there anything notable about getting the money, getting the people together? Or was it a fairly standard issue process?
No, it was
struggling and.
I mean, first of all, just let me say, I was born and raised in Chicago, so to have a film play on the screen was out there. Thank you guys. Thank you, everyone at the festival, for bringing the film here. This project was extremely special. It happened very quickly. I mean, I think from the initial inception of the idea was in the summer of 2014. Before script, right? And so then we were shooting in the summer of 2015, and here we are, not even the summer of 2016, the movie's already been out and playing a bunch. I think the key was keeping the core team from our previous projects together, and there was just, when you're on a movie and everything's working, it's like summer camp or a party. And it was something where I think, in general, this movie had a very tiny budget. I mean, you couldn't even buy a one-bedroom condo in this part of town for what we spent on this film. But I think because of that, you're not paying people a lot of money. People only work on stuff because they love the material, and that makes for a better team. We have one of our crew members in the audience. Woo! Gus, do you want to stand up? He actually appears on screen.
Yes, guys. Woo!
And that to me is what was remarkable about it. Yeah. So, okay. This is kind of for you, Dylan. the process, we're talking like it's an indie project, obviously it's really short and there's not a lot of time. So is that a lot of that your costumes or is it the dialogue? Is that how much of that is kind of you literally? Is that your bike? You know, like
Great question.
did you make up the dialogue? You know, all that kind of stuff.
The dialogue I had nothing to do with at all. Same thing with the bike. The clothes are mostly mine.
Nice.
As you can tell, I also dress weird. And so, I mean, the costume designer and I just really hit it off, and she really let me be part of her process. And that was a big part of my creative process with Anne, was her clothes. And also, I got really lucky, like stuff like my really gross Converse are literally from 6th grade, and I have like a little smiley face I drew in gym class on them. So I had that like to look down at all the time, so it was really great.
And the bike was ultimately, unfortunately, stolen.
Oh,
2 months after.
wait. That's sad.
Yeah, it was maybe meant to be. But yeah.
Let me ask you this, though. What was about this character was the least like you, that you had to make the biggest adjustment to play her? Or was it all pretty good?
That's like how I think about characters, is I start with myself and then I think about what's different. And the things that helped me was like, I think if everybody either responds to negativity first with sadness and then anger, or then anger and then sadness, I feel like we're the opposite. Like I just like get sad and stay sad, whereas I feel like Anne is quick to anger and is in touch with her anger. So that was helpful to me. And then also she grew up where it was warm. That doesn't make sense to anybody else, but that helped me a lot.
We have more time for. Okay, I don't want to take away time, but one of the big scenes certainly is like the trial at school, where everyone's together and you don't have much dialogue, but your reaction shots are so painful and so forth. I want to kind of go through what that scene was like, kind of filming out everybody together and the process, how much time you have to shoot that, and rehearsing and so forth.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that was intense because you kind of had. We were able to schedule out actors on different days and there's different parts. And that was the one day we needed everyone to be in the same place at the same time. And I remember we hired a second camera team for that day, and we all had a conversation where you kind of, you know, whatever, you spit in your hand or you poke blood and you say, we're not going to reshoot this, like, get it today or don't do it. And I mean, the team just did an amazing job. The actors totally brought it that day. And what was really interesting in the edit process is a lot of the performances changed a lot in that scene. Some characters were made angrier, some were made less angry, and it was an important adjustment as character arcs were adjusted during editorial for the rest of the movie, because this is kind of the end of the arc for almost every character. And because of that, I was so glad Karam did an amazing job of just kind of getting a variety of performances in each take. And reaction shots. I mean, we kind of had, I don't know, I don't think they cut on that day. They would just kind of keep on, when we'd go around the room, they would just keep on, if they were getting a single on one of the actors, they just keep filming, because there might be that little bit of reaction that maybe was during, you know, just a break or something else, but if that moment was caught and worked well in the final edit, it helps us achieve the story.
You got into Sundance, which is, I don't know if young Kieslowski got into Sundance. Or
No, it didn't.
Okay, so this is your first time?
It was I've done 15 films. This is my first film to get to Sundance.
Wow.
And then we won the audience award in that competition.
Right. So that's a huge deal, and yet, and of course second only to being here. But yeah, exactly. But
Make sure you vote.
But what talk about that experience, getting in and then being so well received, and then also talk about where does the future hold for this film?
Sure. I mean, that was an amazing experience. Karam got a call from one of the programmers who called me. I thought he was joking. I thought it was like a Thanksgiving prank. But it was huge. I mean, it was really cool. It's something that, at least for me, felt very fresh. Because there's a lot of festivals, and they're all really special. Sundance is obviously an extremely special one, and to never had a film there, to take a film there, for me was like a really new and exciting feeling. The week was great. I assume a lot of people here maybe have been to Sundance, or maybe not. The first 4 days are crazy. It's just extremely intense. Right for the premiere, it's enjoyable in a way, but it's more kind of just full on like heart throbbing. And then the second week things kind of relaxed. I got to see a lot of films and meet a lot of great filmmakers, and got to go skiing. And then winning the award kind of was just the total capstone, and that was an amazing evening. And for where it goes from here, I mean, we're playing a ton of festivals. It is extremely difficult for independent films to reach audiences, and so that's why we're so grateful for festivals like these. We encourage everyone to go to our Facebook page, just look up Young Kieslowski. First Girl I Love. Look up either. They're both good.
Both of them.
Young Kieslowski's on Netflix, so you can see that. But this film we have 5 offers on the table. So right now we're trying to figure out what is best. So it will be available commercially. But I'm not sure how many opportunities we're going to have to play theaters like this. So thank you again.
So that's just my way of leading into, if you like the film, you have probably many, many months to tell the world. So the word of mouth is a huge deal, even prior to signing a distribution deal. So yeah, talk about it for months and months. Just for